Your Royal Highness, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Chair of Court, Lords and Ladies, honoured guests, colleagues and students. Welcome to the University of the Highlands and Islands Foundation Day, here in Fort William at the foot of Ben Nevis. As Principal of West Highland College UHI, I'm delighted to host today's proceedings and would like to offer you some introductory thoughts. Foundation Day is a celebration of one of the most remarkable institutions in Scotland and the UK today, the University of the Highlands and Islands. Today we celebrate the achievements of those individuals, academics and students whose leadership and academic excellence has contributed to the continual development of the vision of this university. I'm proud that Foundation Day is celebrated here today in Fort William. The Foundation marks the bond of the university with the communities of the Highlands and Islands in which it is based and which it serves, recognising that partnership within these communities is key to the university's vision, mission and success. West Highland College UHI is similarly founded on the concept of partnership. It is the newest and one of the smallest partners in UHI. Founded in 2010, West Highland College built on the legacy of its predecessor colleges in Lochaber, Skye and Westeros to create a new college for further and higher education. The college has created access to post-16 learning in some of the most remote rural areas of the West Highlands through its network of 10 learning centres spanning Kinlochleven, the Ardnamurchan Peninsula, Fort William, Mallaig, the Isle of Skye, Lochalsh and Gairloch and Ullapool in Westeros. The college is rapidly growing, serving now almost 3,000 learners, meeting the demand of those who previously had to leave their communities to access further and higher education elsewhere. The creation of West Highland College has been a positive step to retain talent and create opportunity in the West Highlands, strengthening communities by providing access to training, skills and higher education, and by attracting new talent into the area. The college's contribution to tourism, the key economic sector for the West Highlands, is one such example of strengthening communities, where the college provides a wide range of courses from secondary school skills for work programmes through to master's and doctorate level in ecotourism. UHI's unique flagship degree programme in Adventure Tourism Management was created by West Highland College in partnership with the university in response to local employer demand, who required a better qualified workforce to make a real difference to the emerging adventure and nature-based tourism in the West Highlands. Serving now over 100 students, the Adventure Tourism Management degree provides a balance of academic and practical skills. The course is designed, taught and endorsed in partnership with employers, creating highly employable graduates for the adventure tourism sector, one of the biggest economic growth sectors in Scotland and in the UK, a sector which is currently worth £800 million and is expected to grow by a further £90 million by 2015. West Highland College's Student of the Year, Will Rowland, is a typical example of such success. Having just graduated with an honours degree in Adventure Tourism Management, Will found immediate employment with the Outdoor Capital UK as project officer for the hugely successful Lochaber Ideas Week, bringing together business and community to create new and innovative ways of working together for the benefit of all. Working together for the benefit of all, this characterises for me what UHI is about. West Highland College could not exist if it was not for working in partnership. As a partner of the university, we can bring tertiary learning to schools, communities, businesses and employers, working with stakeholders and funders. As a partner of the university, we provide a unique and distinctive offering of education and research blended in a technology-rich but learner-centred mode of delivery. As a partner of the university, we are the local university campus in the West Highlands. In return, we bring to this partnership our local perspective, our distinct human and natural capital, and the vital link with the needs and demands of our communities in the West Highlands. It is this mutual partnership which works for the benefit of all, and this is the foundation on which UHI rests, which we celebrate here today. West Highland College is not a traditional college, and UHI is not a traditional university. Looking back to the founders of UHI, it is reassuring that UHI's strategic direction still encompasses the same objectives as those expressed over a decade ago. In 2002, the UHI strategic plan reads thus: UHI does not fit the traditional model of a higher education institution and is unlikely to do so in the future. We have the opportunity to create an institution that will not only be a credit to the region, but to Scotland and the UK. An institution that will provide an important and influential model to the worldwide further and higher education communities. The challenge to our supporters, funders and regulators is to assist us in achieving our potential. I do hope you enjoy the celebration of success this afternoon, and I would now like to invite the Chancellor of the University, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal, to make her welcome address. Thank you.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, Fescamar Agus Falcha. And it gives me very great pleasure to be with you here today for this inaugural University of the Highlands and Islands Foundation Day. So today is a real opportunity to celebrate the endeavours and the achievements of students and staff. And the location for today's event is a fitting venue to celebrate grand achievements. Being the outdoor capital of the Highlands, Fort William is surrounded by some of the highest and most magnificent mountains in Britain. Fortunately, I've seen them on other days when you can actually see them. And Oban is far enough away to London that you're not in any great danger of running into them. Perfect spot, but can I just underline what the principal has been saying, that this is the home for the West Highland College, the largest campus of the West Highland College. And of course, it is one of the university's 13 partner colleges. But here they provide a range of the higher and professional courses through the network of learning centres already established across the West Highlands and some new ones coming on stream all the time. And we've just been hearing about their unique bachelor's degree in adventure tourism management, attracting students from not just the UK but further afield. And can I also, at this point, say my thanks for the cooperation and the efforts made today to be our host here at the college. My last visit, in fact, was to West Highland College's Skye campus at the opening of its poetry building just in September. And that already shows the benefits of opening a building such as that to an island like Skye, how much it encourages young and old to stay in touch with education at all levels, which otherwise they might have decided was too far afield and came under the too difficult heading. Combining that with the modern technology has made a real impact, and that building will be a very important centre for the future. But I've also had the pleasure of visiting the North Highland College, UHI's equestrian centre up in Thurso, so 6 miles from the centre. But there are about 45 full-time students already enrolled on the equestrian programmes, which vary from the national certificate to a BA degree. And I met some of the staff. They share it with the gamekeeping course in some respects. And they use technology again so that staff can contribute from all over the country, wherever they live or work. And that's vital to getting the best talent together, is to use that technology and find out how best it can work for you. And that centre is also being used by local riders who will use the facilities. And that is an excellent community equestrian resource, but because of the scale of the building and its environment, it offers use for all sorts of other purposes as well. And earlier I visited Perth College, which is the main campus, and the Scone Airport hangar. Now, I'm sure all of you realise that our university's courses in aircraft engineering attract students from across the world. I'm not going to ask for hands up those of you who realise you did aircraft engineering courses at all. but they actually go back quite a long way. It's a very distinguished history, which is now being built on by the university in raising its profile on a global stage. And these visits do cover practically every part of the university's reach and ability, from that very interesting Perth high-end engineering courses to those in the smaller Thurso and in Portree, very much more designated towards local need, but encouraging people to look further afield, to look outside their own environment, to see where education can lead them, to see where the courses can lead them, logically and to progress at their own speed. And all of them share a common purpose, and that really is to support local communities, to focus on the industries which are special to them, the areas in which they live, and to give them the greatest possible scope to fulfill their potential. So this university is founded on very strong constituent partners who make that possible, and that foundation firmly grounded in their localities and the support and understanding for them. All of these facilities are an important asset to the colleges, communities, and university partnerships as a whole. It's been a pleasure to be able to visit them and to meet those students and staff making use of them, and patently there's a lot more scope to visit a lot more of these centres in the future, and I really look forward to developing all those partnerships. I'm equally delighted that there are so many supporters, past and present, as well as students and partnership employees here today to support not just us, but our honorary graduates and our award winners. I too hope very much that you will enjoy this occasion. Foundation Day is very much, I think, the focus for a university, especially one as scattered as this, and that's exactly what it should be. Finding some way of bringing all those elements together to celebrate all those parts which make it such a strong whole. I hope you will enjoy it, and enjoy as well the opportunity afterwards and the reception when the formalities are complete, not just to enjoy what West Highland College has provided, but also the opportunity to meet old friends, find out what the other partners are doing, maybe come up with your own brilliant ideas of what might happen next. These are good moments for little light bulb moments like that. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope I will see many more of you in the future.
Thank you, Chancellor. I would now like to ask you to preside over the first section of our Foundation Day, where we will present honorary awards. Honorary awards are conferred upon individuals in recognition of their outstanding achievement in their field for the contribution they have made to the life of Highlands and Islands, or society at large, or for their service to our university. Our first award today is for the first ever Master of the University of the Highlands and Islands. This award is given to members of the university community who are not graduates or who do not already have a master's degree, and who have given exceptional and outstanding service to the university. I now invite Martin Wright, Director of Marketing, Communications and Planning, to introduce the candidate for the Master of the University.
Chancellor, honoured guests, it is my pleasure and honour to present Alan Bransbury for the award of Master of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Alan, would you please come forward to the platform? It is entirely appropriate that Alan should receive this very first award of Master of the University, because Alan was involved with the University of the Highlands and Islands project from its outset. Before that, Alan was born in Jersey, in the Channel Islands, under German occupation. He studied at Victoria College, Jersey, and won a scholarship to the West of England College of Art in Bristol. Alan's early career combined teaching, educational management, and working as a practicing sculptor and artist. Perhaps the most unusual manifestation of his work as a sculptor was the creation of what is described as a sculptural headland on the private island of Breccu in the Channel Islands in the 1960s. That must have been literally a monumental effort for something which must be very rarely seen and by so few. Alan's career brought him to the Highlands in the early 1980s to join Highlands and Islands Development Board and to help in the establishment of the Highland Craft Point in Bewley. Alan's other duties at HIDB included a number of training and learning initiatives. Some of these required him to work with the various colleges within the Highlands and Islands, and some of them were concerned with distance learning. When, in 1992, therefore, the University of the Highlands and Islands Project Office was established, within what had then become Highlands and Islands Enterprise, it was not surprising that Alan should be one of the two staff seconded to the team. Alan, as Assistant Director, worked with UHI Project Director Robin Lingard to pull together the disparate stakeholders into a cohesive project. Alan's diplomatic skills were much in demand in those early days. As Robin Lingard says, he, Robin, had the ability to ruffle feathers, and Alan had the skills and the diplomacy to smooth them down again. Another of Alan's many talents, and he indeed has many, is his meticulous, and I have to say sometimes fastidious, attention to detail. I'm sure that that attention to detail greatly assisted in the preparation of the funding application to the Millennium Commission, with which Alan was intimately involved. Both Alan and Robin tell of receiving a telephone call to say that a letter was to be transmitted by fax, advising of the outcome of the application. One can only imagine the anticipation that day in 1996 as they waited by the fax machine, remember them, for the letter to arrive, and the jubilation when it did, and they discovered that the requested £33 million had been granted in full. If the outcome had been different, we would almost certainly not be enjoying this celebration today. In 1997, Robin Lingard retired, and Alan worked with Brian Duffield and the expanding project team to deliver the promise of a university for the region. When in 2000, Professor Duffield stood down, Alan supported Interim Chief Executive Professor Alistair McFarlane in securing higher education institution status, not easy for you to say, in securing higher education institution status and in the transition from the University of the Highlands and Islands project to, in April 2001, the wonderfully named UHI Millennium Institute, the forerunner of the University of the Highlands and Islands. It was at that point, later in 2001, that I first met Alan, when I joined UHI as head of communications. Alan, a man of many talents, as you will recall, had been caretaking some of the responsibilities which I was to assume. It could have been a difficult handover, but it wasn't. Alan, gracious, generous, and committed to the success of UHI as ever, guided and supported me in my assimilation into my new role. Alan's turn to retire came in 2002, but not before he had organised the very first UHI annual lecture, a precursor to this event today. A grand event held in Edencourt Theatre in Inverness with Lord David Putnam as a speaker and with the first honorary fellowships presented to Millennium Commissioner, the Earl of Dalkeith, and to early architect of the university project, Sir Graham Hills. But even by retiring, Alan did not escape the clutches of UHI. When the old Inverness Royal Northern Infirmary building was purchased as the new base for the executive team, Alan Bransbury was called upon by a recently appointed James Fraser to assist in project managing the redevelopment of the building and the relocation of the executive office staff to their new home, just before Christmas 2004. And Alan's services were called upon again when it was decided to upscale philanthropic fundraising. Alan formed a formidable partnership with the then chair of the University of the Highlands and Islands Development Trust, Oliver Russell, in bringing a professionalism and momentum to this important part of the work of the evolving university. Alan stood aside from this role on the appointment of UHI's first Director of Development in 2008. And again, in 2011, Alan performed a further service to the university as its very first mace bearer at the celebration event held in Edencourt Theatre that year. The University of the Highlands and Islands owes a significant debt to Alan Bransbury, who has been a constant in times of change and sometimes in times of turmoil over an important and extended period of the university's development. For all of these reasons, and for more, there is no more fitting person than Alan to receive the very first award of Master of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Chancellor, may I therefore ask you to present Mr. Alan Bransbury with his award.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you, Martin, and congratulations to Alan. We now move on to the award of Honorary Fellowships of the University of the Highlands and Islands. This award is given to those who have made an outstanding contribution to the university, either by personal service or by other means, or have earned a recognition for academic work or other activities associated with education, industry, public service, cultural or creative work. I now invite Eileen Mackay, Member of the University Court, to introduce our first candidate for Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands.
Chancellor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present Jack Watson to receive an Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Jack, if you'd like to come up to the platform. Jack Watson came to live in the Northwest Highlands in 1983 from Dundee after a successful career in science teaching, business, public service and civic leadership. He soon became involved in business and community activities in the north, and in 1994 he was appointed to the board of Caithness and Sutherland Enterprise, known as CASE, the body that was then responsible for promoting economic development and enterprise in Caithness and Sutherland. Jack later became CASE's chairman, and he also had his first connection with the UHI project as CASE representative on the board of North Highland College. Jack has a passionate interest in creating a thriving environment for business and employment in the north, and this led him to realise how greatly the Highlands needed UHI to bring education and training opportunities much closer to where people actually live and work. And he was keen to play his part in making that vision a reality. He became a member of UHI Foundation in 1996, and in 2002 he joined the board of what was then the UHI Millennium Institute. It's testimony to his talents and commitment that he was appointed convener of the Finance and General Purposes Committee in 2008 and vice chairman of the board, eventually the court, in 2009. To anyone joining the board as I did in 2009, it was clear that Jack Watson was a very major player in UHI. As the chair of Finance and General Purposes, he had a particular responsibility to ensure that the university was run in a business-like fashion and that it was set on a financially sustainable path. Jack brought to this role a wealth of skills and experience. The committee and the university benefited greatly from his business acumen and his analytical mind. The committee also benefited from his brisk but relaxed and inclusive chairing style. As a member of that committee, you were expected to make your point succinctly, but you knew that you would be listened to and your contributions would be valued. The time Jack spent in committee was the tip of a very substantial iceberg. As vice chair, he was the trusted confidant and wise advisor of both the chair of court and the principal and vice chancellor. And I know that Matthew McKeever and James Fraser would want me to say how much they valued his personal support. Jack regularly devoted a day a week, if not more, to UHI business, all this entirely unpaid. This entailed driving about 1,000 miles a month on multiple journeys between Inverness and his home in Durness. And at this point, I must mention Jack's wife, Heather, without whose support Jack's contribution to UHI just would not have been possible. Jack Watson has thus had a key role in overseeing the development of UHI over the past eventful decade. He's taken a particular interest in the university's role in research, and at the end of 2012, he led a review of the structure of research in the university, which was implemented at the beginning of this year. Although Jack retired from the court this summer, he now serves the university in a new capacity as chair of the UHI Development Trust, whose job is to attract new income from philanthropic and other private sources. He is approaching this role with what one might say was characteristic dynamism. Chancellor, for the outstanding service he has given and continues to give to the development of this university, I invite you to confer an honorary fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands on Mr. Jack Watson. I now invite Norman Sharp, member of the University Court, to introduce our next candidate for honorary fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands.
Chancellor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present Professor Matthew McKeever to receive the award of an honorary fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Matthew, would you like to take the platform? Professor Matthew McKeever is a man of and for the Highlands of Scotland, a man of national standing and of international influence. I can think of no one better placed to have been the first chairman of the Court of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Not only was Matthew the first chair of court, in 2011 he successfully led the board in its previous incarnation through the extremely challenging and arduous process to successfully achieve for this institution full university status and university title, a great achievement. Throughout his distinguished career, Matthew has left a lasting impression on Scottish education. As head teacher, firstly of Fortrose Academy in Elgin, followed by the Royal High School in Edinburgh, he had a very direct and lasting impact on many young lives, and also increasingly on national education policy. This impact was further strengthened when he became subsequently the Chief Executive of the General Teaching Council for Scotland, which is the body responsible for the development and maintenance of professional standards in teaching. While in that post, Matthew was responsible for creating the standard for full registration for all teachers in Scotland. And this at the time was way ahead of anything else that was happening in this field. It was at the forefront of excellence in teaching practice. It led to him being invited, for example, to present this standard to ministers and senior officials in Canberra, Australia. While at the GTC, he was also responsible for another development of particular importance to the Highlands and Islands, a new distance learning teaching diploma that for the first time would allow individuals to qualify as teachers without having to leave their home base. And indeed, this is now a route to a teaching qualification in which this university is involved. In addition to his major contributions to the world of education, Matthew is widely respected as an outstanding champion of the Gaelic language, his native tongue. He has led the Gaelic language debate in Scotland through, for example, his chairing of the Gaelic Language Board. He also chaired the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee that paved the way eventually for the establishment of BBC Alba. Most recently, in fact in November 2013, Matthew has been invited by the Council of Europe Committee of Ministers to be the only UK representative on the Council of Europe's Committee for the Protection and Promotion of Regional and Minority Languages. These and many other wide-ranging achievements have been widely recognised through the award, for example, of an OBE and honorary doctorates from two of Scotland's ancient universities. Notwithstanding such recognition, he is, however, first and foremost, a man of his roots, a man of Lewis. He took enormous pride in 2011 in being asked to perform the opening ceremony of the new school in his home district in Lewis. But perhaps most of all, Matthew still derives enormous satisfaction from writing a regular column in the monthly magazine published in his native point in Lewis. This magazine is now in its 11th year, and Matthew is currently working on his 110th consecutive article. Indeed, a man of and for the Highlands and Islands, a man of national and international influence. Chancellor, for bringing this wide and deep range of talents, expertise, experience and dedication to serve this university so successfully as the founding chair of court, I now invite you to confer on Professor Matthew McKeever the award of an honorary fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands. I now invite Gina Wall, artist and lecturer at Murray College UHI, to introduce our next candidate for an honorary fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands.
Chancellor, honoured guests, it gives me the greatest pleasure to recognise the contribution that Sandra Murray has made to Scottish fashion and textiles during her esteemed international career. I would like to invite Sandra Murray to the stage. Sandra grew up in Ness, at the most northerly tip of the island of Lewis. Hailing from 3 generations of boat builders on her paternal side, and with a mother who ran a knitwear business, it is clear that materials and making are very much part of our Hebridean family heritage. As Sandra herself states, the sea, craftsmanship, cooking and wool, those great anchors of Hebridean life, infused my existence from an early age. In the 1970s, Sandra left Lewis to attend Glasgow School of Art, where she studied fine art. She was trained as a painter and developed a keen appreciation of colour and surface, describing the particular paintings which she enjoyed as leathery, heavily pigmented surfaces that literally have a skin of their own. Although no longer a practicing painter, this sensibility for materials has persisted and now informs her work as a textile artist. As a bespoke couturier, Sandra makes one-off garments which give her clients a unique signature style. There is a clear analogy between her work and boat building, the clothing as a crafted vessel, riveted and buttoned, the materials chosen with an eye to both structure and surface. As an indicator of the esteem in which she is held, Sandra was commissioned to dress Her Majesty the Queen for the historic state opening of the Scottish Parliament in 1999.
The outfit was acclaimed by many, capturing the tone of the occasion at a defining moment in our time, and is only one of two of Her Majesty's outfits from the 1990s to find their way into the book celebrating the Diamond Jubilee entitled Elizabeth Reigning in Style. The Scottish landscape has also been an important influence in Sandra's work. For example, the colours and textures of the island of Harris find their expression in her Luscantire Harris tweed riding coat, which is a particular favourite of mine. The colours of the fabrics that Sandra has chosen for the garment echo Luscantire itself, and her sensibility for the fusions of cloth is conveyed by the overlay of textiles. As she points out, it is the combinations that matter, the play of one fabric over another, layer upon layer. It is Sandra's expert knowledge of textiles that enables her to make cutting-edge garments which combine our best-loved heritage textiles with the finest fabrics from across the world. In 2009, Sandra was awarded an MBE in the New Year's Honours List for services to the fashion and textile industries in Scotland. Her work is featured on catwalks in Paris, New York, and Tokyo. Sandra worked with the royal photographer John Swanell during the development of a capsule wardrobe for the Gaelic singer Julie Fowlis, who's also with us here today. These outfits have graced international events such as the Hollywood premiere of the film Brave and the 2012 Ryder Cup closing celebration in the United States. In addition to developing her international bespoke couture business, Sandra runs masterclasses worldwide. These classes build upon her early teaching experience. Notably, she supports Highland practitioners by providing these masterclasses through the medium of Gaelic. Allied to this is Sandra's regular work presenting fashion and culture on BBC Alba. Sandra is an excellent ambassador for Scottish textiles and fashion. Her garments, beautifully crafted, bring the quality and feel of the materials to the fore. Her work presents an image of Scotland that is fresh and exciting, at times edgy, but always internationally significant. Chancellor, for her services to bespoke fashion and Scottish textiles, and with her commitment to furthering the Gaelic language, I invite you to confer the Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands on Alexandra Murray. I now invite Professor Ian Bryden, Vice Principal Research, to introduce our next candidate for Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands.
Chancellor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present Paul Laurie to receive the award of Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Paul, can you join us on stage? Many of us will remember with admiration when Paul famously won the 1999 Open at Carnoustie. This had been preceded earlier in the season by his win of the Qatar Masters, which had drawn the eyes of the sporting media and given notice that the sporting world should expect much from this young Aberdeen-born golfer. Few with any interest in golf will forget how Paul won that playoff in Carnoustie. In the process, he had overcome a 10-hole deficit as he went into the final day to set a record for the biggest final round comeback on the European Tour. Paul obviously did not believe in taking the easiest route to success. Paul returned to Scotland for his next victory in 2001 at the inaugural Alfred Dunhill Links Championship at St Andrews, Carnoustie and Kingsbarns. His 40-foot birdie putt at the last hole won that season's European Tour Shot of the Year. Interestingly, Paul won the Qatar Masters again last year
to become only the second golfer to have won this tournament twice. Those who believe in omens must surely be waiting now with bated breath. 2014 should be a very interesting year. Shortly after winning the Open, Paul made the decision to look for ways to put something back into the sport which he loved. In 2001, he launched the Paul Lawrie Foundation. This provides opportunities for juniors of any age to start playing golf, compete, and improve their capabilities to the highest level. Paul has said it would be the biggest thrill of his life if someone from the foundation won on tour, or most of all, won a major. The foundation aims to support and sustain an interest and enthusiasm for the game of golf. Activities are delivered in a fun and relaxed setting, with equipment provided if necessary to minimise the costs to parents. The foundation has grown rapidly since its formation and now supports other sports such as football, golf, rugby, hockey, curling, and tennis. Paul became an MBE in 2000, and in 2013 he became an OBE for voluntary services to golf. Paul still lives in his hometown of Aberdeen and supports his local football club. He's an example to all of us as to how international success can be rooted in the local community. Chancellor, for his services to golf and for his determination to bring his own experiences to bear in supporting the development of young people in sport, I invite you to confer the Honorary Fellowship of the University of the Highlands and Islands on Paul Lawrie, OBE. I would now like to invite Steve Thompson to introduce the Alumnus of the Year.
Thank you, Chancellor, and many congratulations again to all the recipients of our honorary awards. Our next award is the University of the Highlands and Islands Alumnus of the Year 2013. Before I ask the recipient to come forward and receive her award from the Chancellor, I would like to outline to you why she so thoroughly deserves this award. The University of Highlands and Islands Alumnus of the Year 2013 is highly acclaimed Scottish singer and musician Julie Fowlis. In 2000, Julie studied the Gaelic language at Salmorostig, UHI, and returned in 2008 to study part-time for a Master's in Material Culture and Environment, again through the medium of Gaelic, graduating in 2011. The Alumnus of the Year award is one of the ways we celebrate the achievements of our alumni. The award is made annually to a former student for services to the community, achievements in arts or sciences, in business, public or academic life. Julie, who was brought up in North Uist and Rossshire, was the first ever Scottish Gaelic singer to win the BBC Radio 2 Folk Singer of the Year award in 2008. Her contribution to Scottish culture has been recognised by the university awarding Julie with an honorary fellowship in 2009, and the Scots Traditional Music Awards, from whom she received awards for Gaelic Singer of the Year 2007-2008, Album of the Year 2007-2010, and Traditional Music in the Media 2012. She has sung Flower of Scotland live at Hampden Park for the Scottish football team, then performed it at the 2012 Ryder Cup in Chicago with a television audience of 500 million, and she was named in the Herald's list of Scotland's top 50 influential women of 2012. Julie has also received numerous accolades and awards for her musical performance in Disney's Pixar's box office hit Brave, set in the ancient Highlands of Scotland. She was also given the honour of being the first official Toscair and Gaelic, or Ambassador for Gaelic, by appointment of the Scottish Government in 2009. She was also recently awarded an Honorary Doctor of Music degree in recognition of her contribution to Scottish music. Over and above the work as a performer, with 3 highly acclaimed studio albums, Julie has imparted her skills to young people through the Feis movement. She's a regular presenter and performer on BBC Alba and TG4 in Ireland, and is a familiar voice on BBC Radio Scotland, and has co-presented the BBC Radio 2 Folk Awards for the last 2 years. Julie is currently a musician in residence attached to Tobar and Dukas, Kist of Riches, the National Sound Archive digitisation project managed through Salma Rustig UHI. As an alumnus of the university, Julie has been a highly influential ambassador through her work as an outstanding singer, musician and educator, bringing the language and culture to an international audience and in doing so, exciting and inspiring a new generation of young Gaels. I am delighted now to ask Julie to join us and ask you, Chancellor, to present her with her award. Thank you, Julie, and thank you again, Chancellor. Our next award, the University of the Highlands and Islands Student of the Year, is designed to encourage and reward exceptional achievement in our student community. Earlier in the year, each of our 13 partner colleges and research institutions nominated and chose their own undergraduate student of the year. And for the first time this year, a separate award was made across our partnership for postgraduate student of the year. To be nominated, these students had to satisfy and show qualities in exceptional academic achievements, producing consistently high quality work or grades, making exceptional progress over the course of a programme, exceptional personal achievement, overcoming learning difficulty or disability, achieving sporting, artistic or cultural excellence, displaying a demonstrable determination to succeed, exceptional, exceptional contribution to the student community, contributing to student representation, promoting links between academic partners, developing sporting, artistic or cultural activities, enhancing the overall experience of being a student. Some of these worthy winners are here with us today. It is fantastic to see you, and you're all to be commended. This year's Student of the Year was the unanimous choice of our three judges, our Dean of Students, Vice-Chancellor and UHI Student Association Vice President. Let me tell you a little about them before I ask you, Chancellor, to present their award. This year's University of the Highlands Islands Student of the Year is a student who overcame the challenges associated with having two rare genetic disorders that has already been named as the Murray College UHI Student of the Year. From Forres, he recently completed a BSc in Computing at the College to the University of the Highlands Islands. He was selected for the award for exceptional personal and academic achievement. A father of two, he was diagnosed with Friedreich's ataxia and dystonia, rare neurological conditions which cause muscle weakening, spasms and speech problems when he was 30. The disorders mean that he uses a motorised wheelchair, tires easily and has difficulty with speaking, writing and typing. Despite such challenges, he decided to undertake an HNC in computing on a part-time basis at Murray College UHI in 2007. Since then, he has worked hard to attain excellent academic results and recently completed his BSc Computing, which he was awarded with distinction. He was also named as the University of Highlands Islands' first ever Fujitsu IT Student of the Year in July. He was nominated as Murray College UHI Student of the Year by his personal academic tutor, Dr. Ian Barnes, who is also a lecturer and the programme leader for the university's BSc Hons Computing degree. Dr. Barnes explained, throughout his time at Murray College UHI, Jim has consistently produced work of the highest standard, often well beyond that was required. He will be awarded his degree with distinction, which means he finished with an A average, an outstanding achievement for any student. For a student who faces such challenges, this achievement is quite extraordinary. The entire computing department supported Jim's nomination for the Murray College UHI Student of the Year, and we are delighted at his success. He has been an inspiration to us and to his fellow students. Now, Chancellor, our University of Highlands Student of the Year 2013 is James Robertson. Now, I'm not sure if James is with us. No. I'm afraid James is not with us today, but I'm sure we'll pass on our congratulations to him. Thank you. Our final award is the Chancellor's Medal. The medal is awarded for the first time ever today, and I would like to ask Lord Mackay to announce the recipient.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present James Mackenzie Fraser. James Fraser joined what was the UHI Millennium Institute in 2002 as secretary to the institution. He was born of Highlands stock, brought up in Inverness, and attended Plockton High School. Like many others before and after him, he left the Highlands to pursue his studies at the university. In James's case, this took him to Edinburgh University, where he gained a first-class honours degree in mental philosophy. Following his degree, James Fraser returned to the Highlands to lecture in English and liberal studies at Inverness Technical College. After 6 years, James moved into education management. He joined the University of Stirling, in time becoming assistant registrar and also achieving a master's degree in education, and then moved to Queen Margaret College, Edinburgh, as secretary. At Queen Margaret College, James undertook much of the preparatory work which led to taught degree awarding powers in 1992 and set the college along the route to university title, which was achieved in 2007. James's next move was to Paisley College of Technology, again as secretary. Paisley College was an institution in transition, and again James had a pivotal role in the process of reorganization which led to Paisley College of Technology becoming the University of Paisley. Meantime, outside of his professional career, James was playing an increasingly important and influential part in the Free Church of Scotland. He was first appointed to its Finance Committee in 1985 and became a general trustee in 1989. James became chair of the Finance Committee in 1998 and has been chairman of the Board of Trustees since 2007. He has also been active in his local congregation in Kiltality, which, in the words of another church leader, was dwindling to the point of extinction, and which James has helped to transform into a thriving and welcoming community. As I said, in 2002, James joined UHI Millennium Institute, as well prepared for the task ahead as anyone could be. By James' own admission, however, the scale of the task at UHI was immense and only became apparent to him after he joined the institution. Perhaps for that we should all be grateful. Shortly after joining UHI, James attended the Convention of the Highlands and Islands and heard Ian Gray, MSP, the Minister for Enterprise and Lifelong Learning, declare that the Scottish Executive was committed to the creation of a University of the Highlands and Islands. A task group was convened. It proposed little more than a Highlands and Islands subsidiary of 3 existing Scottish universities. This was not what the communities of the Highlands and Islands expected or wanted. It was not what the governing body of the UHI would accept. James Fraser took this superficially disappointing outcome and using all of his experience, and some may say not a little guile, gradually shaped it into something far more substantial and acceptable. In August 2005, a partnership was announced whereby the universities of Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Strathclyde would support the development and establishment of the University of the Highlands and Islands as an independent university with full status and mastery over its own destiny. This agreement had James Fraser's hallmark all over it. Alongside this achievement, James was developing the administrative core of the future university, overseeing relocation to new premises in the old Inverness Royal Infirmary building at Ness Walk in Inverness, and helping to build the partnership of diverse and far-flung institutions that would form the future university. James's crucial role in all of this was recognized in 2007 when he became deputy principal of UHI Millennium Institute. In June 2008, the Privy Council granted taught degree awarding powers to UHI. This was a major milestone in the route to university title. The importance of James's role in steering UHI on the course towards university title was recognized again in 2009 when, in the face of strong external competition, James was appointed as principal of the UHI Millennium Institute in succession to Professor Robert Cormack. There followed an application for university title just before Christmas 2010. Confirmation that there should be a University of the Highlands and Islands was given. There were legal niceties to deal with, the last of which was completed on 1st February 2011. The following day, the announcement was made to the world, and James Fraser became the first principal and vice-chancellor of the University of the Highlands and Islands. And in November, Your Royal Highness had graciously consented to be the first chancellor of the University of the Highlands and Islands. Depending on your starting point, this was the culmination of decades or centuries of ambition and endeavour. The ambition that the Highlands and Islands should have its own university, and the endeavour to make it happen for the social, cultural and economic benefits which it would bring to the region, so that its young people are no longer forced to leave the Highlands and Islands, as James Fraser and many others had to do to pursue their university studies, so that many more may be attracted to the Highlands and Islands and add to its intellect and its cultural diversity, so that new opportunities may be created for research and for enterprise, and so that the Highlands and Islands may celebrate its heritage, what it is today, and what can be achieved in the future. For all of these reasons, James Mackenzie Fraser is fully deserving of the very first award of the highest honour of the University of the Highlands and Islands, the Chancellor's Medal. Chancellor, may I invite you to present James with this award. I invite James now to deliver his address.
Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honour to respond on my own behalf and on behalf of those here today who were recognised with honorary awards from the University of the Highlands and Islands. I have to say that as Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I'm delighted that the university has reached its first Foundation Day
since Your Royal Highness was installed as the University's Chancellor. Let me first state our gratitude to the University for recognising as Honorary Fellows Sandra Murray, Paul Laurie, Matthew McKeever and Jack Watson, and for recognising Alan Bransbury with the award of an Honorary Master's degree. Within this array of distinction, we cover public service, the creative arts, sport, education, and business respectively. These are all areas of activity represented within the university, and it is a great pleasure to recognise 5 people who have practiced what academia preaches. We are a university with a strongly vocational ethos. We eschew any false hierarchy which places practical knowledge below theoretical knowledge, and it is therefore fitting that we should recognise such distinguished practitioners in our work here today. We thank you, Chancellor, and the University for conferring these honorary awards, and as Vice-Chancellor, I would like to thank our guests for allowing the University to bask, perhaps momentarily, in the reflected glory of their achievements. Chancellor, let me secondly state my own pleasure and surprise that on the recommendation of the University, you have chosen me as the first recipient of the Chancellor's Medal. It would always be an honour to receive this medal, but to head the line of future recipients is surely a consummation devoutly to be wished. I have been privileged to lead the university at a critical, seminal moment in its history. Whilst I feel a degree of unworthiness to be the first recipient, I am delighted that the significance of the event is being so recognised. Founding a university is an unusual task and happens to few individuals, and that rarely. I do not believe that any one person can ever achieve such a task alone, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to pay tribute to colleagues. Their immense support, knowledge, and skill have made this possible. And when I say colleagues, I refer especially to the staff of the Executive Office, to the senior staff of our academic partners, to the many teachers and researchers whom we collectively employ, and to the support staff who are so vital, who make such a vital contribution to our success. Let me also say that I am delighted that my wife, some members of my family, and some of my friends are in the audience today. They too have played a heroic part in preserving my sanity, curbing tendencies to megalomania and paranoia, and ensuring that I got to work suitably clothed and sometimes in my right mind. When one ponders universities not just in Europe, but also in many parts of the world, one is struck by their longevity and their capacity to survive the economic, political, and social vicissitudes of life. They are great, in Scotland's case, great public institutions, and are formed by the work of many hands over a long period. Those of us today who have ushered this one into existence must regard ourselves as custodians of something immensely bigger and more important than we are. We are part of a succession of leaders, past and future, who will and have etched some mark on the face of the institution as our contribution to its development. I inherited the work of predecessors. They prepared the ground, so to speak. They are the former principals and directors of the UHI Millennium Institute and the former principals and directors of the academic partner colleges that make up the University of the Highlands and Islands. The university grew out of a vibrant grassroots community movement and the support of Highland Council and the Highlands and Islands Development Board. The pathway to success was not always easy, sometimes made tortuous by the players, and at other times by the external custodians of university title. In fact, it has already been the subject of one history and is beginning to acquire some of the heroism and mythology of Mao Zedong's Long March. The fact, however, that the route to university in Scotland is tough is a sign of the public determination to guard the quality and the standards of the institutions deemed worthy of that title. I have been privileged to work all my life in tertiary education. I've always enjoyed the mental security of knowing that I've been a player in ventures of moral significance. Whilst I am completely committed to academic excellence, to blue sky research, to the pursuit of theoretical knowledge, which demands intellectual qualities of the highest order, I'm equally committed to the notion that the pursuit of knowledge is not an end in itself, but an opportunity to make the world a better place, an opportunity to transform people's lives and prospects. And in that sense, all of us who are engaged in educational enterprises are blessed to be engaged in activities of high moral purpose and social value. My ethnicity, as you have heard, is Highland. My genes are some mixture of Celtic and Viking. You cannot have this ethnicity combined with a youth spent in this environment without being aware of our difficult, tragic, and at times heroic history. Unfortunately, our people moved into modernity on the back of two huge historical forces. The first was a sudden transition to the modern state through forcible occupation. Culloden was about suppressing a dangerous and threatening part of the realm, and post-Culloden was about ensuring that it never became a threat again. The second was the onward force of the industrialization of land, with disastrous demographic upheavals of the clearances. The combination of these things ushered in a 20th century of demographic decline and economic debilitation. The need to reverse these effects was acknowledged in the 1960s with the founding of the Highlands and Islands Development Board. With the resultant economic development and the arrival of the university, we have made a paradigm shift to a better place, a place of hope, greater self-confidence and self-esteem, more ethnic diversity and prosperity, a place where people can focus on the future rather than transfix themselves in the chains of a difficult past. We can make our contribution to the great global challenges that face us. For someone of my race to have played a small part in the exodus from the slavery of Egypt to the land where milk and honey might be induced to flow was indeed a very great privilege. Let me conclude by thanking colleagues again for their support, by thanking Your Royal Highness for assuming the role of First Chancellor. Chancellor, I believe that you preside over a university which is distinctive in three ways. Firstly, within our ambit, we have both further and higher education. This gives us an opportunity to develop enriched know-how and to ground theoretical knowledge in practical application. Secondly, we have grown up in an environment of dispersed communities and distributed small populations. This has led us to develop a groundbreaking system for delivering teaching to remote destinations. This is something which, in my opinion, will enable the university to play a role of global significance. Thirdly, we are placed in an environment of outstanding beauty and character and have a heritage of the creative arts, humanities, and theology, which can be exploited for the enrichment not just of ourselves, but of those that we come into contact with. With these distinctives, I have every confidence that the University of the Highlands and Islands will have a great future, generating and transmitting knowledge for the good of the region, the country, and dare I say it, for the world. And I am delighted that my award symbolizes the work of many people in getting there. Thank you. I would now like to invite Dr. Michael Foxley to say some words in closing.
Fiskamar Harchin, Royal Highness Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Lord Lieutenant, honoured guests, many friends from Lochaber, on behalf of the Board of Management of the West Highland College, part of the University of the Highlands and Islands, I would like to just give you a few closing remarks. I realise I'm in between you and the reception, so I will be brief. We had the absolute pleasure of having Her Royal Highness in Portree just 2 months ago, admittedly on a beautiful sunny day as opposed to today with the inclement weather. And to me, Portree sums up what small colleges and the university can achieve, because within the space of 8 months, we'd raised the capital funding, got the planning permission, had the building built, secured the revenue funding and occupied it with students. And that to me was a spectacular result and shows what can be done by good team working, which has been referred to by previous speakers. And the West Highland College is in fact a microcosm of the University of the Highlands and Islands. We're the smallest college, but the biggest geography. We've got 10 learning centres, which Lydia referred to, and we take it all very seriously. Vocational courses, further education, higher education, and research. And so does the University of the Highlands and Islands, which is the biggest geographic area within Scotland and is about 2/3 of the area of Scotland. It is a genuinely tertiary institution covering those 3 areas. And there are challenges, but in the future we have a new chair, and he's here today and has been speaking, Steve, in front of us. A new principal yet to be appointed, because James is, I don't think retirement will be the correct word, but after his long distinguished career, he's off to pastures new in the new year. We have a new court, which is the governance of the university, and a new regional structure for further education. James referred to tensions. There are 13 colleges within the network. There's 60 learning centres. They are the university. That is this big machine across the geography of Scotland. I thought the reference to Mao was very appropriate. It is like the 1,000-mile march, but not quite so easy, because there's real challenges between and within the institution and out with as well. But, and this is words echoed by the Cabinet Secretary, Mike Russell, we're 10 years ahead of the rest of Scotland. We have a tertiary institution. We are a long way from the separateness of colleges and universities elsewhere, and that is our real strength. We look forward to new courses, new activities. I think it's very important that we're promoted across the world and bring students in. I would like to congratulate all the award winners today for their services, not only to the university, but their services to the Highlands and Islands. And it's really great, their services to Gaelic in particular, and also the rest of Scotland. I would thank you all very much for coming today. And finally, I'd like to thank the staff who've organised the event. That's the staff of the UHI, the staff of West Highland College, and the staff of the Nevis Centre. And thank you in particular, Chancellor, for coming today and gracing us with your presence. Thanks very much.